Alright, I don't need to introduce him. Kazuha, one of the best support in the game. Everyone know about him. But somehow a lot of people still make mistake when it comes to building him. And if you wanna know why, or probably you just don't know how to actually build him, this video will guide you on how to build your Kazuha. We will talk about everything from his kit, building him, advanced mechanic that you probably don't know, and how good he is right now with the current dendro trends. Hi everyone, my name is JyoSan and let's get into it. First, let's talk about the talent. His normal attack is just a sequence of physical slash that's not really special unless you got some sort of elemental infusion on him. But his plunge attack is the one that you need to take attention to because it is connected to his elemental skill Chihayaburu. With Chihayaburu, Kazuha pushes himself to the air while also drawing nearby enemy. If Kazuha continues it with plunge attack, the attack will do Anemo damage called Midare Ranzan. After Kazuha does Midare Ranzan, he will create a small wind tunnel that also draw the enemy nearby, but with a weaker pull. Now you can either press or hold the elemental skill, with the press version having a shorter cooldown with lower damage and lower pull radius compared to the hold version. So only use his hold version if your main objective is to gather the enemy. If not, just use the press version and you're good to go. This skill is upgraded with his first ascension passive, which allowing him to do extra hit of elemental damage on your plunge attack based on the element you absorb when you cast his skill. Now let's go over his bursts, which have the most basic English version name. Kazuha deals initial AoE Anemo damage and create an open field that does another AoE Anemo damage, and additionally elemental damage of which element come in contact with, therefore also allowing him to deal sword damage. The ability lasts for 8 seconds with 15 second cooldown. Now this is where most of your Kazuha damage come from. And lastly, we will talk about the kit that make Kazuha got his name as one of the best support in the game. Kazuha will grant all party members a 0.04% elemental damage bonus to the element absorbed by Sword for every point of elemental mastery he has. So let's say you have the average Kazuha with 750 elemental mastery. With that much elemental mastery, your elemental damage bonus would be at 30%. That's like more than half of elemental goblet stat. Just slap on him and you can achieve this with just a decent or mediocre Kazuha stat. Not only that, bonus from different elements obtained through this passive can coexist, which I will explain more when we talk about his mechanic. So that's what makes Kazuha considered as an OP character. But now, the next question is, which talent should I focus first? Now, in fairness, you can just ignore his talent completely and only focus on his second ascension passive and him being a very decent user. But if you don't want to waste his damage potential, which most of the time you don't, you can prioritize to upgrade his burst first, as this is the biggest source of your Kazuha damage. And then after that, you can upgrade his normal attack together with his elemental skill. Now, after knowing all about his kit, let's talk about how to actually build Kazuha. EM, please, just elemental mastery. For the love of God, build Kazuha with elemental mastery. His passive, which by the way, the one that makes him the best character in the game, or arguably one of the best character in the game, require you to build full elemental mastery on your Kazuha. Not only that, even if you build elemental mastery Kazuha, you can still deal sword damage, and since sword only scale on elemental mastery and your character level, you will deal a lot of damage while still providing amazing support capability to your teams. I already explained in depth on my other video. But basically, as long as there are 2 or more enemy on the field, triple elemental mastery Kazuha is as same or even out damage critical Kazuha build. So unless you're running Kazuha in mono Anemo or mono Geo team, you want to build triple elemental mastery on your Kazuha. Now that you know that information, for the artifact there's only one best choice, and it's the 4-piece Viridescent. The 4-piece will give you 15% more Anemo damage with 60% more of sword damage and also shredding enemy element resistance based on element that you swore. This set is just too good to not to use, and with Artifact Stronghold, it is easier than ever to form this 4th set. For the main stat, as I mentioned before, build your Kazuha on triple elemental mastery main stats, so Sands, Goblet, and also the Circuit, with the substat focus on elemental mastery and then energy recharge until you meet the requirement. Generally, you want to have around 160 to 180% energy recharge based on your team composition and how you play the game for your Kazuha to have a consistent burst uptime, but sometimes crit rate substat also could be more prioritized if you use a furnace weapon. And then after that, you can focus on your attack percent or crit damage or something like that. Which brings us to the next part, which is the weapon choice. After you got your triple elemental mastery on your main stat, you can just slap a furnace sword onto him and you just good to go. Furnace is such a good weapon for Kazuha. Not only it manages your Kazuha energy, but it's also helping your team energy regeneration too. So if you somehow don't have a furnace sword, you can go for the other energy recharge weapon like Sacrificial Sword, Sipos Moonlight only if you have Refinement 3 and up, or Sapwood Blade, which by the way could become a good choice if you use Kazuha in Dendro reaction team. If you manage to get the desired energy recharge, then you can go for elemental mastery weapons such as Iron Sting for the easiest to get, and Dark Iron Sword if you really broke, or maybe it's just the alternative before you can craft your Iron Sting. And then after that, there is Toukabu Shigure if you get it from the event, and lastly, the fancy Fredom Sword, which, by the way, Fredom Sword is actually kinda overrated with Kazuha. Yes, it has the highest elemental mastery substat sword, and the passive can give your team more buff and whatsoever, but the amount that you got for a limited 5-star weapon is something that you need to think twice before pulling it. After we know how to build him, let's talk about his constellation. His first constellation reduces his skill cooldown and allow Kazuha to reset the cooldown after he uses his burst. Now this can help you a little bit with energy recharge since you can do it twice per rotation, hence giving you more energy particle to your Kazuha. Also deals a little bit more damage. After that, just like all of the 5-star Inazuman character, Kazuha's second constellation is also his biggest power spike that you can get from him. Kazuha Burst now gives Kazuha 200 elemental mastery throughout the duration of the burst, and any character other than Kazuha who stand inside his burst will also gain additional 200 elemental mastery. C3 and 5 increase your skill and burst level respectively. C4 help you with energy recharge because when Kazuha's energy is lower than 45, he will gain a flat 3 energy from his press version of his skill, 4 energy from the hold version of his skill, and 2 energy per second when Kazuha is gliding. Now his C6 gives Kazuha an Anemo infusion after using his skill or burst for 5 seconds. Also, for every point of elemental mastery Kazuha has, it will increase his normal, charge, and plunging attack damage by 0.2%. This gives you the option of running him as an on-field damage dealer Anemo Kazuha. Now, generally, if you aim for Constellation, first one, you go straight up aim for the Constellation 2 instead of stopping at C1, since C1 improvement is not that impressive for a Constellation. So it's not really worth it if you just stop at C1. And C2 Kazuha is his biggest power spike with the lowest amount of constellation that you need to achieve. After that, honestly, you can just stop at Constellation 2 since his C6, although it is good, it's not breaking any ground. So unless you really love your Kazuha, which by the way I know a lot of you guys really love your Kazuha, you don't need Constellation 6. Playing Kazuha is really simple. You swirl, you get buff, and deals damage. That's it. But there are some advanced techniques that can improve your Kazuha play. First one, the element which is absorbed by Kazuha Anemo technique follow the priority of Pyro, Hydro, Electro, and Cryo. And this can be absorbed from both the active character and the enemies. So, for example, if you have the enemy that is affected by Hydro, but you are standing on Bennett's Burst, which by the way applies Pyro to your active character, your Kazuha Burst will infuse with Pyro instead of Hydro because Pyro is more prioritized than Hydro. The next tip is Double Swirl. The passive buff from Kazuha A4 passive can coexist with different elements. So instead of buffing one element, you can buff 2 elements at the same time, increasing the entire damage for your team. For this, let's take the example of Child International Team. Now you can apply Hydro onto enemy using Child's stance change from his skill. After that, you switch to Bennett and use his burst. Now, because of the elemental gauge theory, the enemies still get apply Hydro to them. After that, you switch to your Kazuha and use his burst into his skill. This lets you not only get more Hydro damage bonus, but Pyro damage bonus as well. Not to mention, you can combine this with 4-piece Viridescent effect, so you can shred both Pyro and Hydro and also get the elemental bonus of Hydro and Pyro too. Also, this doesn't just apply to Hydro and Pyro, you can do this with any element that you can swirl. Right now, Dendro related reaction team are considered as the best choice for Spiral Abyss. So how could Kazuha with Dendro team exactly? Well, of course, Anemo cannot swirl Dendro elements, so if you're running Nilo Blooms or Dendro Spread DPS team, your Kazuha can provide that much of support. But if you play Aggravate, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon, you still can swirl the other element that correlates with the Dendro reaction and buff its damage. Now, personally, I currently running this team for a really easy win on the current Spiral Abyss. As you can see, the main damage coming from Beidou and Fizzle, and then after that it got buff from my Yao Yao. Meanwhile, my Kazuha will shred Electro Resistant onto enemy, and then after that give more Electro damage buff to my Beidou and Fizzle, and after that providing crowd control since I run this team on the first half of Spiral Abyss. So even in this Dendro quote-unquote meta, Kazuha still managed to find his place in certain Dendro related teams and still giving a tons of support and value to it. With that out of the way, now let's talk about Kazuha's team. Now, Kazuha fit in pretty much every single reaction team out there. Freeze team, it is specifically better to use Kazuha instead of Sucrose or Venti, because Kazuha buff your elemental damage, not elemental mastery. And Freeze team doesn't have any reaction damage, so it is good if you have Kazuha instead of Sucrose or Venti. In Freeze team, you want double Cryo with 1 Hydro and 1 Anemo, that's usually how it goes. You can also put Kazuha in Vaporized team with the focus of Bennett and Kazuha, and then after that you put 1 Pyro and 1 Hydro character like this, or this. You can also run Mono Element team with your Kazuha because once again, he buff elemental damage, not elemental mastery. And then after that, there is Melt team, same thing with Vaporize, Aggravate team, same thing with the Mono Element, and even Burgeon or Hyper Bloom as one of the who trigger the reaction. In short, except for Physical, Mono Geo, Nilo Blooms, and Spread team, Kazuha can fill in the gap in any team and even carry the team with his supporting capabilities. Overall, Kazuha is such an amazing character. His elemental damage bonus is OP, so build elemental mastery on him, not critical. He have an amazing crowd control ability, and with the exception of Physical and Mono Geo team, you put him in any reaction teams and he will make sure to put his best performance for you. Comment what you think about this video down below, and while you're there, don't forget to smash the like button since it helped me a lot with the algorithm, and if you like this type of video, subscribe for more similar content in the future. I'm JyoSan, thank you very much, and I hope you have a very good day. Goodbye.